Today we're going to talk about transformations of graphs of functions. So a translation, known as a slide, is a shift either up, down, right, or left of a function. So basically it takes a graph of function that might look like this, and it moves it to the side, or up and down, or it could move it both. It could move to the side and up, or any combination of those. Okay? So here we have a nice easy transformation. We have the function y equals x squared in red here. So this is the parabola y equals x squared, and then we compare that to y equals x squared plus 3. Now when I add a function, or if I add a number onto the end of a function, all it does is take that function and move it up 3 in this case, okay? So, because I added 3. So if you think about it, this part of the function right here is the same in both of those. And so I'm just taking the answers that I would get for this one and adding 3 onto them. So all it does is it slides that thing up 3. Doesn't change the shape or anything. Okay? Now, in this one, we have y equals x squared minus 4. That's a shift 4 units down. So it takes this function and it subtracts 4 from all the answers, so it just shifts it down 4. Okay, so if I take a function, I add something onto the end of it, it's going to move it up. If I subtract something from it, it's going to move it down. Very simple. Okay. Now, now this is a little different. This, I've subtracted something inside the function. It's inside the x squared. Okay, so I've got x minus 2 squared. Now this is a little bit tricky because people always think that when you subtract it moves to the left, but that's the opposite of what it does. It takes my function here and it moves it to the right because it's taking the x coordinates and subtracting 2 from them and then squaring it. Okay, so it's essentially taking this thing and shifting it 2 to the left. And if I add something inside the function, so here I've got x plus 1 squared. That's going to take it and move it to the right, or I'm sorry, the left. Okay, so adding moves it to the left, subtracting moves it to the right when it's inside the function. Now I can do combinations of those two things. So in this example right here, I can just analyze this thing. I take my x squared right here, and I'm going to move it 4 to the right and then 2 down. So it's going to take this thing, it's going to shift it 4 to the right and then down 2. Okay? So I can do combinations of those things, and basically it moves it diagonally when you do combinations. Okay, now these transformations will affect any kind of equation equally. So it could be a parabola, it could be an absolute value, it could be a cubic, whatever it is, it's going to move it the same way. So here I have y equals the absolute value of x. That's my nice v right here. Okay. And then I compare that to y equals absolute value of x plus 3 minus 5. So what does that do? Well, I've got a 3. I'm adding a 3 inside the function. That's going to take the function and move it 3 to the left. And then outside the function, I've subtracted 5. It's going to move it down 5. Now, it looks a little weird on this one because the scale on this graph is stretched a little bit this way. But yeah, it works the same as if it was the x squared. Okay, now a reflection, it can be done either in the x-axis or the y-axis by putting a negative sign in front of the equation or putting it inside the equation. So the easiest one is when you just take a function like this and you tack a negative sign onto the front of it. Okay, all that does is take the answer that you would have gotten for this and make it negative. So that takes this thing, this red parabola here, and it's going to flip it upside down. Okay, so I know that the transformations on this, it's taking x squared, it's moving it 3 to the right, and then this negative sign is flipping it upside down. Okay, so shift 3 to the right, flip upside down, you get the blue one. Now if I want to flip it, this will flip it over a horizontal axis, if I want to flip it over a vertical axis, I would put a negative inside the parentheses there in front of the x. Like this one, okay? So here I've got x minus 3 squared is the red one. So this is my original one. If I tack a minus sign on the inside of this function, instead of flipping it over the x-axis, it's going to flip it over the y-axis. Okay, and that's that today. There's a little assignment attached on at the end of this thing. So have fun with that. This should be mostly review for you. Have a great day.